Hello, my name is Radia.
And I'm Joshua.
Today we're going to talk about knowing how to practice tools and technique in control quality management.
There are three main points that we're going to talk about. First, we're going to briefly explain the summarized information of the four of the tools and techniques. And then we're going to explain the advantages and disadvantages of each tool and techniques.
And lastly, we'll put one of the tools and technique in this video for practice. The practice will be in a form of little drama, so stick around for that as well.
Without further ado, let's start the video.
Lanjut. First of all, we'll only explain four kinds of tools and technique in control quality management.
The tools and techniques are data gathering, and we're only explaining the statistical sampling, data analysis, and we're only explaining the performance review, data representation, and we're only explaining the control charts, and lastly, meetings.
One of the data gathering techniques that we'll be talking about is statistical sampling. Statistical sampling involves choosing part of a population of interest for inspection. For example, selecting 10 engineering drawings at random from a list of 75. The sample is taken to measure, control, and verify quality. Some sample frequency and sizes should be determined during the plant quality management process. The second tool and technique is performance review. Performance reviews measure, compare, and analyze the quality metrics defined by the plant quality management process against the actual results.
The next tool and technique is control charts. Control charts are used to determine whether or not a process is stable or has predictable performance. Upper and lower specification limits are based on the requirement and reflect the maximum and minimum values allowed. So, if for example the statistical value peaks higher than the upper limits or lower than the lower limits, corrective action will be taken by the project manager or other appropriate stakeholder so that the performance can remain inside the control limits. These control limits are determined by standard statistical calculation and principles to ultimately establish the natural capability for a stable process. And the last tool and technique is meeting. There are two kinds of meeting in the data representation technique. The following kinds of meetings may be used as part of the control quality process. The first one is approved change request review. All approved change requests should be reviewed to verify that they were implemented as approved. This review should be checked that partial changes are completed and all parts have been properly implemented, tested, completed, and certified. The second one is retrospective or lesson learned. A meeting held by a project team to discuss successful elements in project or phase, what could be improved, what to incorporate in the ongoing project, and what is in the future project. And lastly is what to add to the organization process assets.
Every tools and technique mentioned previously has its up and down. Now we're going to explain the advantages and disadvantages when using certain tools and techniques. There are several advantages and disadvantages when using statistical sampling. The advantages are accepted by many courts, and the second is scientific basis or replicable, and
Replicable.
cost and accuracy known. There are also disadvantages when using the statistical sampling. The several disadvantages when using this tool and technique are it's not absolutely precise and many potential pitfalls. The second tools and technique that I want to explain is performance review. There are several the advantages of using performance review as the tool and technique. The first one is dedicated time, the second is structured feedback, and the last is company-wide access. There are also disadvantages when using the performance review. The several disadvantages when using this tool and techniques are the first one is complacency, the second is faulty reviewers, and the last is anxiety and tension.
The third tool and technique is control chart. There are several advantages and disadvantages when using the control chart. The advantages are easy to construct and interpret, allows the PM or other appropriate stakeholder to take action based on facts, highlighting which area of performance that needed special attention, and determine process variability and detect unusual variation taking place in the process. While the disadvantages are, on some cases, there are false alarm, flawed assumption about the situation. This means there are some situations where the assumption according to the data are flawed. This will in turn create an unnecessary time to correct the situation, or worse, making the decision wrong. Needs special training to actually implement effectively and control. And the last tool and technique that we're going to look up is meetings. There are some advantages of meetings compared to other tools and techniques. The advantages are first, making decision faster, clarifying information and staying up to date, and strengthening teams' bonds. While the disadvantages are eating up too much time, going off track, and creating busy work or more work.
Now we're gonna practice one of the tool and technique in control quality management. The one that we choose is control chart.
I'm gonna be the project manager and Radia will be the expert. Good morning, Mr. Radi. Today I want to discuss my team's project with you as an expert.
Okay, I'm honored to be chosen as an expert. Nice to meet you, Mr. Gibeon.
So, in this meeting, we have a control chart of the accident occurrence for last year in my project. This is the chart. Just a minute, I will share the screen. This is the chart.
Oh, you seem to have a spike in the 11th month there, Mr. Gibeon. That means that there is something wrong that month.
Wow, I've just realized that. What should my team do?
Do you have a journal that documented the whole 11th month? Maybe there are some implementation that and I'm having a bad effect to the project.
Okay, just a minute. I will look at my data. Oh yeah, as it turns out, there are some injury caused by a work-related issue. I seem to have missed that because that month I have a problem regarding cost management with the stakeholder.
Oh, it seems that the spike is the only bad thing happening in the year. Well, other than that, your statistic is in good condition, since all of them are near the middle control level. My opinion is to improve your safety regulation, so that you won't have this problem ever again.
Oh, thanks for the advice. I will surely keep that in mind.
Is there anything else you want to ask me about?
Well, one more question. Do you have any advice regarding the upper limit and the lower limit number of the control chart?
Well, as long as you use the right statistical formula to calculate, you won't have any problem regarding that. Your only problem now is to make sure that the sudden spike won't happen again in the next year.
Okay then. Thank you again for the excellent advice. I think that's it for me.
Well, then I'm signing off, sir. Have a good day.
You too.
Saya tahan, sih. Tiga. Okay, everyone. I think we have finished practicing tools and technique that can be used in control quality.
Thank you for your attention and see you next time.
Bye-bye.